What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This here is Legitical Response. I cover political news. Now, you guys know that, yes, I'm behind Trump. I was reluctantly behind Trump, but now I'm fully behind the guy because, yeah, we need to change. We need some change in this country, folks, and we can't afford to have Kamala Harris have another 4 years of the last 4 years. Our economy is fixing to buckle, right? We have out-of-control spending in the government, and that's what we're talking about today. Out of control spending in the government. And y'all know, the longtime viewers of this channel know that this is a subject that I latch onto because I can't stand $1.7 trillion deficit spending. It's insane. How the hell can anybody, like any of these congressmen, right? Like, I would question every single freaking congressman. I would love to do this as to how the hell can you, with good conscience, vote for a budget from an administration that is $1.7 trillion over what we take in, more than what you're supposed to. That's insanity. You know, can any of you guys out there do that? Can you go and spend more money than what you take in? Now, I'm not talking about credit cards. Of course, you got credit cards, but guess what, folks? You've got to pay that off. You got to pay a bill on that every single freaking month. That's crazy, right? And you can't just go to your family and vote to up your credit limit, can you? Just go to your family and say, hey, we're thinking about raising our credit limit. No, the credit card company is the one that does that, not you. So why is the U.S. government allowed to do this? And once again, I circle back to the question, how can any of these congressmen in good conscience vote yes for these appropriations bills when they're that much over, when it's that much of a deficit, knowing we have $35 trillion in debt? It's crazy to me. But we might have a resolution to this, folks, if we vote Trump. Check this out. Trump says he'd create a government efficiency commission led by Elon Musk. Now, I just wonder if this is why Elon Musk is nosing up to Donald Trump, right? Because they've gotten buddy-buddy as of the Trump assassination, as a matter of fact. Now, Elon Musk is endorsing Donald Trump, right? He used to be ardently against Donald Trump. He said some mad crap about Donald Trump in the past, as a matter of fact. But this is amazing. We need this, as a matter of fact. Check this out, y'all. Former President Donald Trump said Thursday he would create a government efficiency commission to audit the entire federal government, an idea suggested by billionaire Elon Musk, who would lead it. The commission is the latest attention-grabbing alliance between Trump and Musk, who leads companies including Tesla, SpaceX, and has become an increasingly vocal supporter of Trump's bid to return to the White House. Now, notice how the corporate press narrative, oh, this is just an attention-grabbing alliance. You love how they got to throw these adjectives in there. This just crazy description. Oh, it's just an alliance for attention purposes, for nothing else. Even though they're sitting there telling you that, yeah, they got together to create this commission, this government efficiency commission, as a matter of fact. Is that attention-grabbing? Sure. But is that the main focus of this? Once again, kind of like the Arlington Cemetery scandal. Or it's not really a scandal. The corporate press is making it a scandal because Donald Trump goes there to support the Gold Star families, and the corporate press, they come out there and say, well, hang on, it's illegal to post campaign videos or make any kind of campaign event at Arlington National Cemetery. Well, hang on, who said this was for political purposes? Nobody, except the corporate press. So they're getting mad because they're accusing him of doing something that he's not doing, and then getting all bent out of shape about it. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will. But it's one way the corporate press generates attention. Right? If they didn't generate attention, we wouldn't read their news. We wouldn't care about their news. Or not nearly as much as we do. But instead, they're going to be some assholes and make up some lies about Donald Trump, because this is what the corporate press does. They lie about people. So they've got to paint this, because it's such a great idea, they've got to paint it in a negative light. It's crazy to me. They can't get along with something that actually makes logical sense. They got to be against it. Oh, this is retarded. Stupid. The Republican presidential nominee claimed that in 2022, fraud and improper payments alone cost taxpayers an estimated hundreds of billions of dollars. He said the commission would recommend drastic reforms and develop a plan to eliminate fraud and improper payments within 6 months, which he said would save trillions of dollars. Yes, I happen to agree with that. Looking at the appropriations bills, looking at all the pork that they put into this thing, and as a matter of fact, working for a construction company that has worked for the Army, right? Because we've done a lot of work on Army bases, local Army bases around here, and it's ridiculous. Some of the regulations and some of the rules, some of the steps we have to go through to do the work. It costs our company at least twice as much to do the job. So, yeah, we're going to charge twice as much. It's ridiculous, right? Like the instance I always give, or at least I used to, I haven't talked about this in a while, right? Like we put windows in, we do storefront, but this is curtain wall, which is still kind of a storefront system, but it's a stick stall. Getting into details, esoteric BS. But anyway, so after we get the window in, we get it caulked and everything. They force us to clean it off, which takes a lot of time, which is kind of silly, but okay, whatever. It's in the contract, so we'll do it. But anyway, so we're working off of a swing stage, which is basically a hanging platform that you hang off the side of a building, and they got 2 motors, and it goes up and down, blah, blah, blah. You get it. Well, anyway, this thing goes slow, and it takes time to go up and down. Well, we got this fast window schedule. We're trying to get all these things done, and it takes us an entire day to do a whole window. So at the end of the day, every single day, we're done with the window. Well, when we get done, we have to have an inspection, right? So we get done with the window. We call the guy to come inspect it, somebody with the U.S., the Corps of Engineers, the Army Corps of Engineers. And we got to call him, and he's got to come out and inspect the window. Well, you call the guy, and it's an hour before he shows up. We can't do anything at this point. We can't start on the next window because we haven't got approval to start on the window yet. We haven't got the permit, right? Because we have to get a permit for every single freaking window every day when we start work. If we only get a permit for this one window, that's all we can do. So we're sitting there waiting for an hour for this guy to come from his office, which is in the same building, to come from his office up to the roof to come inspect this window. And if there is a single fingerprint or anything out of place, right? Like if we didn't scrape the caulk off the little cover plate that goes, the little metal that trims out the window, if there's like a little smudge of caulking, what happens? Oh, he doesn't approve the window. So what we have to do is come back down off of this scaffold. He goes off, right? Leaves just completely. We have to go up, clean this thing off, call him and say we're done, wait another 20 to 30 minutes for him to come out and inspect it again to make sure we got all this done. If there's a smudge, if there's anything out of place, he can't let us do it right then and there. He has to go down and leave, and we have to go back up and do it. It's insane. It's totally insane. This is government efficiency at its worst. This is what we need fixed. Lots of wasteful spending, folks. Lots of wasteful spending. We need to do it, Trump said. Can't go on the way we are now. Trump also promised to cut 10 government regulations for every new regulation implemented if he's elected in November. This is a good thing. Regulations are strangling businesses here in the United States. Yeah, they just keep tacking on more and more and more and more regulations. Some of them are necessary, right? Like a lot of regulations around safety are necessary for, employee safety, for crying out loud. But some of them are not. Some of them are just totally ridiculous. Like when you're in one of these refineries around here, because we do a lot of work in refineries. There's like 15 refineries in my area. When you go into one of these places and you go to work off of, get this, a 4-foot ladder, right? 4-foot ladder, barely this tall. Somebody has to stand there and hold that ladder for you. Anytime you get on a ladder, you have to have a whole nother person standing there holding it. He can't help, can't take his hands off the ladder, has to hold it with both hands. That's ridiculous, folks. That is totally unnecessary. Now, I can see that if somebody is on at the very top of a 10-foot ladder, 8-foot ladder even, I can see that. Okay, I get it. But, like some regulations, like you have to actually tie off if you get above 4 foot on a 6-foot ladder or an 8-foot ladder. You have to have a harness and go and tie off. That's also ridiculous. That's totally unnecessary. It's just little things like that just blow efficiency out of the water. It's like, nope, you're not having no more efficiency. It's crazy, y'all. He announced the plans in a speech to the Economic Club of New York, a group of executives and industry leaders, where he also unveiled proposals to slash regulations and boost energy production, embrace cryptocurrencies, and drastically cut government spending as well as corporate taxes for companies that produce in the U.S. I look forward to serving America if the opportunity arises, Musk wrote on X, the social media platform he owns. No pay, no title, no recognition is needed. This is great, right? Like Elon Musk don't need the money, doesn't want the recognition, but that's just absolutely awesome. Why haven't lawmakers thought of this before? Why hasn't a president thought about this before? Because we all know, like, you think about the government, you think about waste. That's all they do. How come they haven't sought to fix this, right? Donald Trump is probably the only person that would think to do something like this because he's a businessman and he sees the federal government as a business because that's what it is. He's the CEO. God, that's what we do. We make money. We have all these divisions that do all this work, do all this garbage, right? He's also in charge of foreign policy. Now, that's a totally different thing. That's like negotiating business, but, something totally different. But that's what the president does. Pretty much enforces the Constitution and conducts foreign policy. That's what a president is supposed to do. Why we get politicians to do this is well beyond my capability to understand. I don't understand that. Crooked politicians, you're going to put them in the most powerful position possibly in the world and expect them not to be corrupt, not to get more corrupted by all that power? Yeah, right. Just look at what Joe Biden is trying to do to this country. It's crazy. The former president and Musk discussed a role for the entrepreneur in a second Trump administration during a streamed conversation on X last month. "You're the greatest cutter," Trump told Musk then. "I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up the Department of Education, move education back to the states," which is a great freaking idea. That'll cut a bunch of money out of the federal deficit for sure. Right? Get rid of a lot of this gender ideology garbage that they're trying to push on our kids. It's insane. Trump and Musk, two of the world's most powerful men, have shifted from being bitter rivals to unlikely allies over the span of one election season. Yes, exactly. That is what the Biden administration has done. Once again, this is what I tell all my Democrat friends out there. Just go look at my video archive if you don't believe me. How can you back Kamala Harris when she is partly responsible for our current situation? The U.S. economy is about to buckle, folks. We need drastic changes. Our spending is insane. It has been insane since the early 2000s. We can't keep going like this. We cannot keep going like this. We can't keep funding all these foreign wars. It's insane. We can't keep sending money to these corrupt third world nations for them to just take it and their rich people that live in that country to steal it and keep it for their own personal gain instead of the money going to fix the root causes of immigration, which is what's supposed to be happening. Right? Like, I would love to see an investigative reporter go down and follow the money on that to find out exactly where that money went. Because I can almost guarantee you that it wasn't to fix the root causes of immigration. Like, greedy people take money. Yeah, that's what they do. They are greedy. Musk, who describes himself as a moderate Democrat until recently. What do you mean until recently? When did he say he wasn't a Democrat? Suggested in 2022 that Trump was too old to be president again. Still, Musk formally endorsed Trump 2 days after his assassination attempt last month. Yeah, you know why that is? You want to know why that is? I can answer that right now. Because, yeah, you look at Trump on TV, sure, yeah, he's too old. But you go and meet the guy in person. You see him. You actually pay attention to how he talks. Right? And all these left-wing pundits, all of them, are like, hang on. Oh, this is sad, y'all. Trump's cognitive decline is insane. It's worse than Biden's. But you go watch one of his rallies and you don't see it at all. You don't see it whatsoever. So I'm sure that's what happened. Musk met Donald Trump and saw that, hang on, this guy might be 78 years old, but shoot, there's no signs of cognitive decline. Go look at any one of his speeches from 2015 when he was first running for president, and look at one of his speeches today. There's hardly any difference whatsoever. So if he was cognitively declined then, he hasn't declined any since then. So, yeah, it's hard to make that accusation stick. Presidents have made various efforts to reform government over the years, including the National Partnership for Reinventing Government created during Bill Clinton's presidency, which was headed by the then Vice President Al Gore. It aimed to simplify the federal bureaucracy, cut costs, and make agencies more responsive to the public. Now, yeah, that was a good idea. And guess what happened while Bill Clinton was in office? Hang on. Congress balanced the budget. They didn't spend in a deficit in the late 90s. Huh. Surprise, surprise. You put together a decent budget from the federal government, and there's no deficit. You put together a commission to make sure that everything is going copacetic, right? To make sure that there's no funny business going on. Put it that way. The government runs just fine. Yes, we need this again. We don't need Kamala Harris and her insane communist garbage. That's what it is. That's all it is. It's garbage. Right? And you gotta love to see it. I covered an article a couple of weeks ago that was comparing Trump's and Harris's economic plans. Right? Talking about, Trump's going to cost $4 trillion to the national debt. And I'm like, yeah, you're not taking in a bunch of factors, right? Come to find out, what they did is they took current spending and just tacked on Harris's and Trump's economic plan to that. Now, hang on, you can't do that. So that made that article pretty much null and void because, for one, you have no idea what their budgets are going to be. You don't know what their spending is going to look like. So how can you project numbers? And by the way, they were projecting numbers 10 and in some cases 15 years out. Like, hang on that for a second. Donald Trump can only be president for 4 years. Why are you projecting these numbers for 10 years out? 15 years out? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But that's what the corporate press does. They did nothing but portray Kamala Harris in a positive light and try to make Donald Trump look like he's the worst thing since Hitler. Yeah, worse than Hitler. But that's what they always try to do. Right? It's like it started with, hang on, we're getting a lot of views because we said a mean thing about Trump. And then the Trump derangement, that's how it started. Right? Like the corporate press is patient zero for TDS. They are the purveyors of TDS. Because they'll make an article and hang on, that got a lot of attention. So then they got to up the ante a little bit. So that they make he was a racist at one point. That gets a lot of attention. So the next one, okay, hang on, he is a racist. All right, hang on. So that gets a lot of attention. Well, he's the worst he's the most racist. And it just escalates from there. Right? Until we get this garbage where the government is accusing him of being a Russian spy, for crying out loud. As a matter of fact, one MSNBC pundit said he was a Soviet spy. Yeah, a Soviet spy. That's just insane. But these people have no problems with saying, just lying about Trump constantly. But yet, you look at the guy's policies, you look at reality, and you see a totally different story. See a totally different story, folks. But yeah, I think Trump will be a pretty good president this next 4 years. I think he's going to do pretty good. Y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got for this one. I want to thank everybody for watching. Y'all try to have a good day. And stay legitical. Peace. Yeah, I screwed that up.